BlackRock is launching its own stock exchange in Texas to try and compete with the NASDAQ and the New York Stock Exchange. Is this the future of stocks or just another power grab by the behemoth that is BlackRock? Let's dive into it. Okay, so first things first, I think it's incredibly interesting that Elon Musk goes through this insane power grab in Delaware, and then BlackRock opts to use Texas, a state that Elon actually recommended to open this business. I think this is something that can be spoken about on a higher level, on a more macro level, that the entire economic landscape in the USA is changing. But the topic of today, BlackRock trying to open this new stock exchange, this modern stock exchange. A stock exchange, by the way, that hasn't changed in decades. Let's see what's going on. So we've got this clip here by Reuters. So we've got the TXSE group, BlackRock, plans to launch a Texas stock exchange based in Dallas. So it's raised $120 million with plans to file registration docs in the USA to start operating as a national securities exchange. So what this basically means is a platform where people can opt in, where people can put the shares of their companies to trade. Now, this isn't the first time some sort of modern digital stock exchange has tried to open. Frankly, Binance did this first by giving people the ability to list their tokens and have the tokens trade, take a fee to trade the tokens. This has been happening for quite some time, but this is the first time an actual player, a big behemoth of a company like BlackRock, has tried to enter the space. This Reuters calls it a rebound in capital markets has sent a plethora of companies from within and outside the USA scrambling to list their stocks. Changes in equity trading markets are driving more volume to exchanges and more choices for issuers and sponsors, says Jamie Lee. Absolutely true. As someone who's taken a company public, there is a massive amount of headache, especially in Canada, where really there's only one massive stock exchange. It's an absolute nightmare to try and get companies listed. There's a monopoly, there's a bureaucratic process. It's meant to protect investors, but as most things go, when you put middlemen in between producers, there's problems, there's bloat, and there's inefficiencies. And so on the core, I super agree with this. But what I disagree with is the way that they're going about it. The Texas Stock Exchange aims to attract listings of exchange-traded products and challenge increasing compliance costs at the NASDAQ and the NYSE. Yes, we need to challenge. This is part of the free market ethos, absolutely. But is BlackRock going to be the one to actually challenge the status quo? Or will it be more of the same on a blockchain? This is super interesting. When stocks trade on a blockchain, as we all know, blockchains create programmable protocols. The assets that trade on a blockchain become programmable. Is real-time reporting. It allows us to set certain baselines and certain principles that we as investors care about to then determine whether or not the stocks, whether or not the assets that trade on that blockchain apply those. It's not how much money do you make, it's do you make more than the allotted criteria to apply for this loan. Let's say your income is $200,000 and you need a minimum of $160 to be approved for the loan. Well, then it's a yes or no. It's binary. Do I make more than $160? But when you don't own the blockchain, when BlackRock proposes to own the blockchain, we run into problems. These problems come in the sense that, will it be open source? Will it actually be verifiable? Or will it just be another database that somebody else controls and lies to us with? We got Mr. Fink himself giving us the time of day for a quick quote. The TXSE will ultimately create more competition around quote activity, liquidity, and transparency, resulting in more consistent and reliable markets. Yes, 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 yes. The GME ridiculousness is not possible in a free market blockchain that actually allows trading. But will the Securities Commission allow for GME ridiculousness to continue? The only thing that is stopping the current public markets from trading in this way with activity, liquidity, and transparency is the fact that someone has an off switch. Guys, giving BlackRock the off switch is not the answer. Remove the off switch. This is why Bitcoin, this is why the Bitcoin and crypto markets are so innovative, is because there is no off switch. If we are proposing that centralizing a market and giving it to BlackRock is the answer to quote activity, liquidity, and transparency, we're wrong. This is simply BlackRock trying to take advantage. This is not, I repeat, this is not the future of stock exchanges. So first things first, Good Morning Crypto, which is like a spoof on Good Morning America, obviously. BlackRock and Citadel plan to launch a new national stock exchange. Here's a video of the BlackRock CEO explaining how tokenization is the next evolution in finance. Let's see what Mr. Fink has to say.
We believe the next step going forward will be the tokenization of financial assets.
Hang on. So first things first, the tokenization of financial assets has been here since 2008 when Satoshi launched the white paper. And then it came into existence in 2009 at the Genesis block. That is the tokenization of financial assets. But yes, you're right. It is the future. You're just like 15 years late in claiming it.
And that means every stock, every bond will have its own, basically, CUSIP. It'll be on one general ledger. Every investor, you and I, will have our own number, our own identification. We could rid ourselves of all issues around illicit activities around bonds and stocks and digital by having a tokenization.
I think he's bang on here. This is absolutely true. This is what the blockchain promises. But the key thing that he's missing here is the decentralization. The only way that works is if it's decentralized. If you want to truly get rid of illicit activity, you have to answer two questions. Who decides whether or not it's illicit? And then who can turn it off? And if either of those questions are me or somebody that I choose, then it's not good for you. It's not good for the general population. It's not good for the 3 billion people that want to access this. It doesn't matter. If you give centralized planners the control over financial assets, it will be manipulated. That's the real problem with the stock exchange. The stock exchange right now has the ability to be incredibly efficient. Guys, it's just a database. It's like a Google Sheet that people move numbers around off. It's not real. There is no problems moving assets because there's no blockchain. The problem is the centralization. The problem is that one person, one group of people can say, turn it off.
But the most importantly thing, we can customize strategies through tokenization that fits every individual.
The problem that we're going to see here is, and what he's not saying is, who is going to program the blockchain? Who's going to program the AI that will give us these strategies?
We would have instantaneous settlement. Think about all the costs of settling bonds and stocks. But if you had a tokenization, everything would be immediate because it's just a line item. And so we believe this is a technological transformation for financial assets. I believe if you want to talk about voting and voting choice and all the things, if we know every moment who is the owner of that stock and it's now time to vote, every individual who has ownership is identified and they can vote their own share.
A blockchain doesn't solve this problem. Just standardizing and modernizing the practices is what solves this problem. All right, crypto bit, what do you have to say? Okay, at RectUSD, guys, this is what I'm talking about, the internet. I bet money on it. They will push 24/7 like Bitcoin is. They want to control the crypto market like they already control stocks. If they open 24/7 casinos for boomers, everyone will follow. Boom, hit the nail on the head. This is what I'm talking about. The fiat casino, which is what it is, has only been open 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, not on weekends, not on holidays. I don't think the answer is opening up that casino 24/7, keeping the same people in power. This is not about the trading times. This is about who controls what trades. This reminds me of George Carlin saying we have the illusion of choice. They'll have their way on the NYSE too, but people will think they can pick one of 31 flavors and not have Ken Griffin piss in the ice cream. Yeah, hits the nail on the head. We've got the illusion of choice. BlackRock and the US government. Internet remains unbeaten. So good. I disagree that there should be regulation, a corporate regulation against companies like BlackRock. I think BlackRock is acting well within their rights. Problem is, those rights are determined by people that BlackRock pay. This is the issue. So, does BlackRock owning some blockchain that gives their assets, the assets that they want, the assets that they want to be listed, does BlackRock owning that give us a freer market? No, that's not the promise of a blockchain. That's not the promise of, like, right here, you guys can't see it, right there sitting beside me, we have the white paper. We have Satoshi's vision for what a free and open economy actually looks like. And it starts with the money, you guys. It starts with how we store our value. And so we're forced into what had a monopoly, the stock exchange. We're forced to invest our money. We're forced to put our money into someone or something else at the hope and the promise of a return. Bitcoin actually solves this. Bitcoin takes away the power of the money printers. Bitcoin doesn't allow us. Bitcoin removes the power from the dial turners that can manipulate and steal from us with inflation by printing more of the paper that you and I work so hard to produce and earn. But I want to know, what do you think? Am I wrong? Am I off here? Do we need a free market in this fiat casino? Or do we want more things trading on a blockchain controlled by BlackRock? How do we feel as a Bitcoin community, as a community of people that want free and open economic prosperity? How do we feel about BlackRock and the TXSE? That's it for me. Stay sovereign.